I know it's been a very long time, but it is time for an NXT review. This is the first NXT of the new year, and it aired New Year's night. So let's get right into it. After the introduction, we are told that Tyler Breeze has entered the building. Our commentators tonight are Tom Phillips, William Regal, and Alex Riley. And I'm going to mention Alex Riley in a minute because our opening match is Alexander Rusev versus Kofi Kingston. Now, Lana, who is the spokesperson for Rusev, does her introduction. They come out, then Kofi Kingston comes out. And then during the introduction of Kofi Kingston, Alex Riley makes this comment. I don't think his education at Boston College helped out. He says, and I quote, Kofi Kingston has been a 10-time champion in WWE, 4-time Intercontinental Champion, 3-time Tag Team Champion, and 2-time United States Champion. 4 and 3, 1, 2, 3, plus 2. That's 9. That's not 10, Alex. That's 9. Boston College failed you on education miserably. But I digress. Let's get to the match. This really wasn't that good of a match. I mean, I've seen Rusev in a better match, and it's not Kofi Kingston. It's just, I don't know what it was about this match. I just did not like about it. Rusev does some power moves, but Kofi Kingston does come back. The end of the match, Kingston is on the top rope. Lana distracts Kingston. Rusev throws him off the top rope and then locks him in the camel clutch. And he really pulls back far enough for Kingston to submit. Alex Rusev gets the win. And I'll say this. I have seen Rusev in a couple matches in the past where he's looked really good. But for some reason, he just did not look good in this match, and I don't know why. I'm not blaming Kofi Kingston. He just did not look good in this. To the back, Sylvester LaForte is being interviewed, and he talks about how he is holding auditions to have a new client. So here comes his first guy. He's got chains wrapped around his neck, and Sylvester is like, "You're too fat. Bye." So here comes Batista. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Mason Ryan. So Mason Ryan comes, and LaForte tries to recruit him, and he gives him $1, and Mason Ryan takes the $1 and shoves it in LaForte's mouth. Next up is a women's match, number 1 contenders match, Natalya against Emma. And I'll tell you, Emma has come such a long way from when I first saw her on NXT, from this annoying character, and this character has just come along so well. It's so quirky, it's fun. I'm really starting to like it. This was a good match. This was a lot of good wrestling. At one point, Natalya did a reverse surfboard, which is just an incredible sight. You have to see it. And then at one point, Emma did her version of the tarantula on Natalya, which looked impressive. And in the end of the match, it was so good. Natalya tries to lock in the sharpshooter. Emma blocks it and then turns it into a small package, only to get a 2 count. And then she gets right back up, and then she puts in the Emma lock. And if you've never seen it, it's basically a variation of the Muda lock. And Emma, what it is about that move is you got to have that bridge down real good. And Emma's got a good bridge when she performs that move. Natalya taps out. Emma wins, is the number 1 contender to the NXT Women's title. And like I said, it was a good match. And Emma, I'm telling you, she's come a long way from when I first saw her. Now we go to a first for NXT, a sing-off. Renee Young is in the ring, and the sing-off is between Aiden English and Colin Cassidy. I've heard about what Aiden English has done as of late. I have yet to, I'll be honest with you guys. I just been so busy, I haven't had a chance to watch NXT as of late. So Aiden English is now this drama performer, and Colin Cassidy's dressed up in a suit. So basically, it's fan voting. It's a typical thing. Aiden English performs an opera song, which gets, meh. And then Colin Cassidy comes up and he starts, he's like, and then he goes back and then he starts singing a version of "Oh Danny Boy," but changes the words to "Oh Aiden Boy," which was good. It was it was a good song. Aiden won, or not Aiden, Colin won the voting, but Aiden says, "No, I want to do it again. Let's, the fans are wrong. Let's do this again." So they do a second round. Aiden English sings a song in English, no pun intended, and Colin Cassidy comes out and he does a version of "My Girl" by the Temptations, where he tells Aiden English that you suck, and the crowd just goes right into it, and it was so good. I mean, it was amazing how quickly the crowd got into that song. But towards the end of the song, Aiden English attacks Colin Cassidy, beats him down, upset, leaves, and that's the end of that. But that was a good segment. That was a good segment. Something different. You don't get to see it on NXT. It was different. It was fun. It was good all around. So now we go to the next match where it is Tyler Breeze against Batista. Oh, not again. I made that mistake again. No, I'm just joking with you guys. It is Mason Ryan. And Sylvester LaForte comes down to the ring for the match. So, it's a quick match. At first, Breeze has control, but Mason Ryan fights back. And in the end of the match, Mason Ryan has him up on the shoulders, drops him throat first on the top for a clothesline. Then Ryan goes outside, clotheslines LaForte. And LaForte was doing nothing on the outside. Mason Ryan comes back in, starts to run, and then Tyler Breeze hits the beauty shot, which is a spinning heel kick, gets the 3 count and the victory. It was a good win for Tyler Breeze, but at the same time, the focus of this match was more on Mason Ryan and Sylvester LaForte, which, I know they've had a feud for a while, but it sucks when the other guy who does get the win is not really that involved in a match, so remains to be seen. We are then told that next week's episode will feature a Tornado Tag Team match, the Ascension facing Hunico and Camacho. Yay, Hunico and Camacho, they're back. Okay, so before we go to the main event, we are told that Tyler Breeze has left the building, and it is time for the featured match, a 2 out of 3 falls match, Leo Kruger against Sami Zayn. The first fall, I'll tell you what, the falls are very different in this match. The first fall, a lot of action on the outside. Leo Kruger is more the brawler of the two. A good brawl back and forth. In the end of the match, Kruger goes for a splash, but Generico catches him, gets him in an exploder suplex, and then, or not Generico, Sami Zayn. I'm so used to El Generico. I really am. But Sami Zayn hits the exploder suplex onto Leo Kruger, and then hits a running Yakuza kick onto Kruger, gets the 1-2-3, gets the first fall of the match. Very impressive way to win the first fall. Then, as we come back from commercial, we go right into the middle of the second fall. Zayn tries a superplex onto Kruger, but Kruger blocks it and eventually dumps him onto the floor. To at one point, the commentators were wondering if Zayn was hurt, if he had hurt his shoulder. And then the second fall stays in the ring. It's just a good back and forth match. Kruger hits a spinning neck breaker with Zayn draped on the top rope. Looked very good. On only got a 2 count, and then Zayn hit a spinning power bomb from the back suplex position, only could get a 2 count. And then Kruger attempts the GT3 on 2 separate occasions. The first time, Zayn got there real quick. The second time, he was able to hold it on a little bit longer, but Zayn somehow managed to get to the ropes. And what I liked about this match was how the commentators were saying, you know, how in the world Sami Zayn is not giving up. He's just staying in there, staying in there, staying in there. And he really does. And then we get to the end of the match where Kruger is trying to hit a lariat. He calls it a slicer. But Zayn blocks him, drops him into an STO, and then he locks him into a submission. And the best way I could say the submission was like a head scissor stretch. He had the bottom leg wrapped around the neck of Kruger. The top leg was wrapped around the back of the neck or to the lower part of the body. Meanwhile, he's locking in underneath the chin, and he's stretching Kruger. And Kruger taps out. Sami Zayn wins in 2 straight falls to win the contest. Very surprising that this went 2 falls. I thought it would have gone 3 falls myself. But Sami Zayn wins the 2 falls and wins the contest. And that is your first episode of NXT for 2014. You know what? For me, this was sort of a mixed bag. You had some very good points. The women's match I thought was good. The sing-off I thought was good. That was a good segment. And then, you know, you had some stuff that just didn't work. I didn't think the Rusev-Kingston match wasn't that good. And Breeze and Ryan, you know, like I said, I thought, you know, it sucks when you have a match where one guy, like the whole focus of the match is on one guy and somebody else that's not involved in the match on the outside, which happened. But the main event was a good match. Sami Zayn is just unbelievable. He's just one of the best performers right now in NXT. And, you know, to get a match like that against Leo Kruger, and that was a good match with Leo Kruger. So, all around, for this, the first episode of the new year for NXT, it was a good episode. I would recommend you guys watching it for the women's match, for the sing-off, and for the 2 out of 3 falls match. And like I said, it was a good way to start off the new year and to continue forward into 2014 for NXT.